Enki, the god of the temple of sweet water, the house of sweet water, where they stayed of vapor. Cain, Gilgamesh. He's also known in Norse mythology as Loki. He's still the same person. So how did he get from Sumerian all those thousands of years ago up to north? Well, the two with the Dan tribe. The Danan lived in Greece. They caused a war. They were using necromancy to reanimate dead bodies. And then the Citizens were going to kill them. So they scattered to the north, taught witchcraft, and then went to Ireland. So then they invaded Ireland from the north using the Northmen and the Normans. So the same trickster god, Loki, Enki, and then in the Epic of Gilgamesh there's someone called inky. So there's all traced back to the stealing of the vapor. So it's the same god. So the story goes that, as far as I know, in the pagan, in the Dan mythology, there's always an element of truth in it. It talks about a wolf that was chained, and then the wolf devours the god that has him chained. The wolf is Benjamin. Is a metaphor for Benjamin, as far as we can tell. And we have been enslaved by the heathen Dan tribe, but we're free now. We're the rising of the kings. And in that it says that the wolf devours Enkidu, or the wolf devours the Norse gods, and then the sons of that god kill the wolf. What element of truth is in that? Well, we are slaves to the Danan apartheid government. When you're dealing with the Danan and you want to see how they operate now, you look at the old Danish map, Denmark's map. Denmark is still running, but the elite of the Dan tribe are still running Denmark as they did. Denmark is basically Europe, the EU. And so when you look at the old Danish map, not from a couple of 100 years ago, and you realise that the actual Icelanders are Vikings as well, because Callahan ruled. So here's a link to Alexander the Great, Alexander. They have a horse, a pony, up in basically Mongolian ponies are Nordic, are Callahan's ponies. You can find them. The Icelandic pony is a Mongolian pony, one and the same. And you can find the same type of pony in Norway. It goes under another name, but the story goes that this type of pony was ridden into battle by Alexander. How did they know that? How do they have a pony for Alexander the Great, Ethelstan, Attila the Khan, in two northern countries, if he was only down in So he was only down in the Middle East. So what happened was, the Dana witches, and everything they tell you is a lie. That's how the witchcraft operates. You consent to anything they do, they have you under a spell. That's why when they send you a letter, writing was banned in Ireland. You weren't allowed to send letters. A letter is a spell if the truth is not written on it. Anything other than the truth, an act of legislation, any trickery whatsoever is a spell. That's why it's called spelling. That's why a lot of people won't accept any letters and they won't open them. They just write on them, return to sender. I do not recognise you. I do not understand your intent. I do not recognise you. No assured liability. No contract. I do not require your services. Basically, that's fuck off in legalese. You don't open the letter, you write that on it, and then you pop it back into the post box, and that'll happen 2 times or something mostly, and then it'll never come back. But basically, how come they have the Mongolian pony in Iceland and the Nordic countries? Well, I'll tell you how. Because Callahan, came out of Iceland, came out of Ireland, down through the north, Benjamin, into Mongolia, through Scythia. The tracing of the wolf and the lion is seen in the northern Scythians. It tells the Mongolians say that Genghis, Temujin, Benjamin came from the north and the ancestor of the wolf. The wolf is Benjamin, and Benjamin is linked to the bow, the warriors of the bow. You have to listen to a Hebrew, you have to listen to a rabbi to know this. But the trail of the ponies leads back to Ireland, leads back to Callaghan. Callaghan defeated the Vikings, at the Battle of Limerick. Defeated the Northmen, and then he became the king of Iceland and all of this, and everyone joined. They all joined with him against the Normans. The last you can hear of Callaghan on the British Isles is Alexander the Great, Atlas of Scotland, when he was old. And the Norman king says, let us see if we can't get the little red fox to come out from his hole. But he was being sarcastic. The little red wolf is the red hand of Callaghan, the wolf of Benjamin, the rock of Cashel. See, my ancestral coat of arms is the oldest coat of arms in Europe, bar none, and has a wolf on a hill with an oak tree. The oak tree denotes strength from Cashel. Who do you leave your kingdom to? The strongest. Now, they said to me the other day, Cretia is described in the Bible as a wild beast. Yeah, but Alexander wasn't from Cretia. Alexander was from Cashel. An English man's home is his Cashel. Alexander the Great conquered the Greeks. He fought them. He conquered the Greeks, then he conquered the Persians. Alexander the Great was hated by all the other Greek states because he was a king and they were evil democracy. And the democracy they had back then was a lot more favourable to the citizens than the democracy they have now. But nevertheless, democracy is the least form of governance. Plato or Aristotle said that. Because so when you have governance, you have the golden men, the kings. Then you have the meritocracy, aristocracy, meritocracy, something else, and then democracy. Democracy is the least form of government. You don't want democracy. Democracy is a load of bollocks. So Alexander the Great, the Macedonian, he's a Macedon. A Macedon means you have tusks or horns. Alexander was a Macedonian. Even in the Bible, in the New Testament, it says Macedonians look different. In the likeness of a Macedonian. So a Macedonian is a new creature in Christ. So basically, 2,000 years ago, 1,400 years ago, Alexander the Great didn't look like me and you. None of the men of the faith looked like me and you. They had horns. Because their DNA wasn't degenerated. Since Enki, Cain slew Abel. He rose up against his brother. He built the first Gujarat, and you know where that first temple is built? There's a desert there as well. There's always a desert around it. So there was something called Elysium, and the whole earth is a desert, and above them is the elite, living in a Elysium. Eli in the Bible is where the evil god hides. Moab is Cain. Moab has been comfortable from his youth. He had not been emptied from vessel to vessel, neither had he gone into captivity. Therefore his scent and his taste remain in him. V5 from I smell the blood of an English man. Be he alive or be he dead, I'll grind his bones to make my bread. That's a giant sniffing out the gales because the bloodline. So to generate the DNA, you have 4,000 DNA that are degenerated. If they were switched back on now, you'd grow wings, horns, hoofs. You wouldn't look, because when the world was created, it didn't look like it is now. There was trees all over the place and giant animals, trees that were thousands of feet high, because of the leaves above us are draining the planet. That's your enemy. Know your enemy.